Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the interview that we will be conducting today with Magrid Learning Solution from Luxembourg and the Ministry of Education, Science, Culture and Sports from Curacao. Before going over and introducing our esteemed panelists and members today, I'm going to explain a little bit about why this is so important for Curacao and for Luxembourg. Because today, it marks a very important day, because here I have the signed Memorandum of Understanding that Magrid just signed with the Ministry of Education. But why this? Let me introduce first Samira Sapp. Samira Sapp is actually the Director of Digitalization of the Ministry of Education, Sports, Culture and Science in Curacao. And last week, education, especially special needs education, received devices for children that are visually impaired. So they receive Apple products, they receive training, not only for the children, but also for the parents, for the teachers, for the people that are working with them, and the kids. In Curacao, we are talking about the 5 M's, and I'm going to say them in Papiamento, that's our native tongue, and then I'm going to say it in English also. So the 5 M's are mucha, maestro, mayor, material, manejo. So the first M is the children, the child. The second one is the teacher, maestro. The third one are the parents, mayor. The fourth one is material, the materials that are being used. And the fifth one is management. So if we have all of this, then the question would be, how are we going to integrate this in Curacao for the public to understand why this is so important, that no one is left behind, and that we talk about inclusion and have also other people being part of our esteemed community. So today, having at our table, we have the Prince Louis de Luxembourg, we have Dr. Tahereh Pazouki, and we have the Minister of Education, Science, Culture and Sports of Curacao, Mr. Sithree van Heydoorn. Welcome to all of you at this table. My name is Elton Villarreal, and I will be conducting this interview. So I'm very happy, and for us from Curacao, thank you for this opportunity, because this is a very important part in signing an MOU with a company that looks out for children in general, but also children with special needs. Oftentimes it's a taboo. We don't talk about it. Instead of saying we don't talk about Bruno, and we don't do it. So this is a very important step to it. So I'm going to go over to first the Prince and then the Minister, and then I'm going to give Tahereh the opportunity to speak. Why is this so important, and what does this mean for you being here in Curacao and signing this Memorandum of Understanding with Curacao?
Thank you very much. So the importance, first of all, of it is neurodiversity, and it's the ability and moving forward together to be able to help those neurodiverse children facilitate the learning process. And so if you are able to help those children to have a neurological capacity earlier and greater, you're going to facilitate their all their life as within the educational system.
And we're going to touch base on that, because I have a daughter that's also neurodivergent, and she's also in one of the schools. So we're going to touch base on that. So thank you. Minister.
Yes, thank you, Alton. As you said in the introduction, our Ministry of Education, Science, Culture and Sport has ambitious goals to bring changes in our way that we do education on the island. And we are working carefully to improve the quality of education. We want to modernize our educational system, but also on tools like Magrid, and content, and above all, ensure equal opportunities for all. So that's our main goal regarding education, and that's why we have signed this Memorandum of Understanding with Magrid.
Yes, especially giving equal opportunity to all, because as you shook your head just now when I said we leave people behind, we don't talk about Bruno, the taboo, so that's a very important. Thank you very much. Dr. Tahereh, why is this so important for you on this day?
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me here. We were fortunate and honored to receive the minister and their team in July in Luxembourg, and that was when we learned that how much Luxembourg and Curacao they have in common from different aspects. So we are both small countries, that small changes can have big impact to their society, and we can also have a great testing bed using different solutions that we have. So when we started developing Magrid 10 years ago as part of a research project at University of Luxembourg, after 6 years of research, development, testing, and validation, we implemented Magrid in all public schools in Luxembourg, and we can already see the impact. Given the similarities that the two countries they are sharing, among the other, the language diversity and also the population of children that they don't speak the language of instruction at school, we believe that Magrid can be a great support for students here as much as it's in Luxembourg, but also apart from that, the awareness around the topic of neurodiversity and the supports that we can provide to this group, it can be huge. So we know that about 1/3 of our population, there are different group of students with different needs, from children in autism spectrum, ADD, ADHD, dyslexia, dyscalculia, and clearly just one teacher and one curriculum cannot fit all needs. So the idea here is to make sure to identify the different needs of a different group of students, and we make sure that they all receive equal opportunity to high quality education.
Yeah. So for me, it's very interesting. As I mentioned just now, I have a daughter. She's also neurodivergent. So for me, listening and hearing this, I'm like, wow. So based on science, coming to facts, based on science, and then having now the Ministry of Curacao saying, hey, you know what, we want to start this pilot. How does this work for this child? How is it going to be for a child being neurodivergent in a school and having this technology being presented to them? Again, going back to what I mentioned just now, the 5 M's, so children, parent, teacher, the material, and the management. How is this going to tie in for the whole community of Curacao, that they can see this and learn and make use of this in the schools? That's okay. You can go, and then I'll give it a yes.
Absolutely. Yes. So we see more and more that like to start any change, to make differences, it's starting with changing our mindsets. And as you mentioned, like the taboos around the topic. So it's very important to bring awareness, and also as His Royal Highness mentioned that it's like for a different group of students within neurodiversity group, it's more of an advantage than disadvantage. It's more of first learning, like what is their learning style and learning preferences. And then after that, we can really benefit from the way they are thinking and the way they are performing. So what we are trying to achieve is not only providing a tool to children, but also to build the capacity for the whole educational system, for parents, for teachers and students, to make sure that they are aware of the concept, they are aware of their capabilities, and also they know that they can be also active players in the system and in the society.
So raising the awareness is one thing that's very important. Going to the Prince, for you being neurodivergent, raising awareness about this topic, how is that for you? As sometimes people would think, oh, that's very easy because he's the prince. So, but how is it for you to raise awareness to this, and then maybe to turn it again? Hey, how can we make sure that the communities can understand the importance of inclusion of neurodivergent people in what they bring to the table or can bring to the table for a society?
So awareness is multifaceted. Awareness is about saying, okay, dyslexia exists, neurodivergence exists, all the different types that Dr. Pazouki just talked about of neurodivergence, and then explaining what they are, and then explaining again that they are, how they can be helpful to society, and then explaining again how they differ also within these different spectrums, that these children are completely individuals, and that their issues are individual to them. And so every child, whether it's dyslexic, autism, ADHD, and all the others, you can't put them in a box. So at some point, we need to put it in a box in order to be able to try and give understanding and simplify the thing, but never think that the box is actually the reality. The box is there to help simplify for the social system, for educational system, for the structures, but never forget that they are much more than that. And that each individual children has his individual learning capacities and difference in neurological systems and frameworks.
Yes. Thank you. So, listening to this, Minister, that means that we have a whole lot of work to do in not only preparing our schools, but raising awareness. What are we going to do? How is this going to look forward for Curacao in this, in collaboration with Magrid? Is there a time plan? Is there a map? How are we going to do this?
Okay, before answering your question, Elton, I think it's a good that we explain also a little bit in papiamento for the people to know what is Magrid. Como Ministerio de Enseñanza, nós visita na luna de julho, nós visita Luxemburg, caminho nós vai ser conhecido com o sistema de educação, pero também é forma como a gente trata com é diferente muito não que tem atenção especial dentro da vida. Então aqui nós vamos encontrar é parte de software que se chama Magrid, que mesura nós toma nota de G, nós decidir de seguir o que mais leu e nós está aqui na caminho nossa firma o Memorandum of Understanding, para nós vai fazer projeto piloto em diferentes escolas de nós. Onde é problema que nós encontramos mesmo com a de nossa ensinança, de parte de matemática, wiskunde, como a gente pega o OP de G, então via esse sistema aqui de Magrid, pode mira que muito por desenvolver é parte de conhecimento e muito mais milhão. E o software não tem muito para muito não que tem necessidade de atenção especial só, pero também para qualquer mucha que tem qualquer grupo bisa classe entre 3 e 9 anos. Então essa aqui vai fortificar na base de matemática para assim não por bisa spelenderwijze de software aqui, não por equipar mesmo muito mais milhão que parte de matemática, então quando isso aqui também tem certo benefício não para dar. Então nós também começar Elton, nós também começar na alguma escola, me pode mencionar na nome se começar na John F. Kennedy School, LOM School, nós também Marieta Alberto, com MLK School, nós também Van Houten School também, com MLK School, e nós também Mirna do Vale também, que está para muito com problema com o ouvido e que não atende bom lá que nós visa. Então, a escola nós temos que começar pilot mas de maneira uma visa, Magrid não é somente para muito que tem nós visa atenção especial, Pero sei também nós temos a escola de fundação Alice Juliana e também Advent School na Coralsberg. E Fátima Colégio também de Buena Vista, não, de Sofisant. Então, na tua escola aqui, nós vamos começar com o projeto piloto aqui, e também está para mais ou menos 300 e pico muito que nós vamos começar com ele, para ser conhecido. Então, aí nós vamos naturalmente cá no processo para avaliar, então, conforme a avaliação aí, nós mirar que impacto o software tem nossa seguir amplia agora é projeto. Tá bom para me bisa também, para saber bem do que você sabe Luxemburg, você sabe o software em Luxemburg, etc. É language é idioma. É software, graças a Deus, está idioma independente. Que não tem problema com a parte aí para nós muito não, quando nós pensa não se consegue inglês ou qualquer não, é idioma independente. Simplesmente tem que seguir o que o sistema está indicando, então aí não fortificar na parte de matemática.
So just a short recap. So for the roadmap, actually, the government of Curacao has a plan already, and they're going to visit 7 schools for this pilot. I'm going to mention them. First of all, John F. Kennedy. That's a LOM school for children with little disability. Then you have Marietta Alberta, that's children with a higher level of difficulty. Then you have Van Houten School. That's a school where they are middle, have difficulties, but it could be some supported. And then you have Mina do Vale. That's a school for children that have on the spectrum of autism, has auditive problems, and have a speech impediment. And then you have, because this program is not only for children with special needs, they are also going to have this pilot in 3 schools that are just regular education, primary school. That's Advent School, Alice Juliana, and Fatima Collegium. And this is going to take 6 months. There's going to be roughly around 300 kids, 300 children that will be experiencing this program, this software. And then we're going to have an evaluation period. And the most important part of it is, because people will ask, but yeah, is this in Papiamento? Is it in our language? It's going to be language friendly, because the children do not need a language specifically. So there's no language barrier in this. Once they follow the instructions, they can make use of the software. So in that matter, that means that the public, the population of Curacao, the community of Curacao will be benefiting from this from the get-go, because you're starting giving this to the youngsters, to children. They will, on the end, will keep growing, and they will be the future. And in this, we can grow a better community. So for Luxembourg, you said, Dr. Tahereh, that it took you 6 years to do the research, and then you saw the difference. Of course, each country is different, the dynamics are different, but what are expectations that the people from Curacao can have once this is implemented, and hopefully is going to go fine, and we will implement it in all the schools, the same as in Luxembourg? What are expectations that we could have when a child can use this program, such as Magrid?
Thank you so much. Very good question. Before answering your question, I wanted actually to ask the minister, what are your expectations? How would you define success after 6 months?
That our children, our students have, a higher grade of understanding mathematics. As I told in Papiamento, one of our main problems with our students in Curacao is with mathematics. So we hope this will give them the foundation they need to continue understanding mathematics.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. So that's, I would say, something that it's a very right fit, and very the expectation that I can close to 100% assure that this can be met. So what we're seeing that usually it's causing the mathematical difficulty is, first of all, the math confidence and math anxiety. So very often teachers that we are having at this age group, they have themselves math anxiety and difficulty with math. So when they have this issue, it's very hard for them not to transfer this anxiety. And so by definition, they all coming that, I may not be good in math, although they didn't even give this the try or the chance. So it's like any other skill, it needs to be developed, it needs to be trained until it can be mastered. So what we see very often with Magrid is, first of all, the interest, and also in subjects related to mathematical skills. So not math per se, but problem solving, logical thinking, reasoning, and also the confidence, so that they are especially in women or in girls, we see that they often say, I'm not good in math, I'm not good enough. But given that here they have their own space to learn and to also get feedback until they can improve, very often we see that we hear that after a few weeks of working with Magrid, they are confident in their capacities and also in their learning. That, I am good in math, I can do this. So, and this is just the beginning for them to at least try.
And make school be fun again.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think that it's in line with that expectation, Magrid can definitely support.
So, now for you, you're the ambassador for Magrid. So how was it for you to experience this? Because I don't know if that was the case for you when you went to school when you were younger, but having this software, how did it impact your world in solving problems, but also in raising awareness for others in this? How did it impact your world?
So sadly, I didn't have that product when I was little, and and my children are already big, 18 and 17, so they're not using it also, as they are too old. But yes, absolutely, it's the mathematical skills, it's the capacity, neurological capacity, building, and the capacity, as Dr. Pazouki just said, of building self-esteem. And these children are so struck with a lack of capacity to show their abilities, and then to be stimulated. There's a huge problem with neurodiverse children that are not being stimulated, because in our school system nowadays, they're only confronted to their weaknesses. And so they are struggling, but not stimulated in a productive way. So they're going to become better in their weaknesses, and that's important and fine, but they're not going to get better in their strengths. And so this is a possibility for them to increase in neurological capacity in order to be able to have a sense of their strengths, and emotionally in order to trust themselves that they do have strengths, and that those weaknesses, they can fight them, and they should fight them, and they have the strength to fight them, because they know that they are more than only their weaknesses.
My saying is, oftentimes you do SWOT analysis and they say, yeah, there's a weakness. Weakness is just a strength not yet developed. So once you get an opportunity to develop this weakness, you will see the strength that you have in this. And this is actually the opportunity that we as Curaçao have now, together with Magrid, with Luxemburg, to work on this. So the self-confidence, being aware of this, the capabilities, the abilities that you have. So now for you, Minister, if you would say, hey, you know what? I'm looking at the success for, let's say, the coming 5-10 years for Curaçao, looking at his children. How long would you say you would need as minister, as a society, to make sure that no one is left behind, that all schools maybe can have this in mind, because this is very important for Curaçao? What would be your vision to this?
Our goal is to shape a future where every child in Curaçao has access to high quality, modern education with no barriers in their path. So that's why last year, December 1st, we launched our plan de mejoración de educación. So there are several paths that we have to walk with this plan to implement a lot of changes in our educational system. And this is one of them that will help that change we are looking for. Because during the years, we have done the same in our education, the same. So now it's about time to make changes in our education. And December 1st, again, over 2 weeks, will be again the day of education in Curaçao. And on that day, again, we will be announcing more things that will be changing in our education.
So actually the improvement plan for education has been started already last year, the 1st of December. And actually this year you can actually give an update of what has been happening throughout the year. And Magrid will be a very good one and a nice one to be presented also on that day. I'm seeing that we have, I have a lot of questions I want to ask, but I have to be mindful of the time. For parents, what can parents expect actually to see in their kids? Because we hear, hey, there's going to be improvement, but what can parents expect in their kids? But also how can parents support this program, this process with their kids, with the school? Because I believe that school and home are one. If they are not combined together, if they don't work together, they're not going to be successful. So what can parents expect, and what support actually this program would need from the parents in order for it to be successful?
Yeah, thank you. Very good question as well. So we are trying here together with the Ministry of Education of Curaçao and also the Ministry of Education in Luxembourg to also share knowledge and experiences, especially in that sense, because we see more and more that when parents, like less parents are involved in the education of children, children are at higher risk of lagging behind the others and also like having poor education afterward, and also in their even in their job or even in their wage. So it's very much linked in research. So we are trying to like bring parents, like onboarding them as much as we can, of course, depending on their availability and also interest. But what we're trying to do, for instance, with Magrid is providing very little, let's say, weekly messages and weekly exercises, just so that they taking home and so that parents are aware of what's happening at school. Not that really asking them for a lot, because I'm sure they already have a lot to take care of, but more of being a little bit more involved, so that slowly they understand and they get more engaged, and also helping them through also creating training programs for parents as well as teachers, so that, as you mentioned, they can be combined and then they can support each other, hold the hands toward getting a common goal.
So for listening to this, for the Ministry of Education, Minister, that means also, because we know our issues that most of the time parents don't want to come and exactly. But how can we as society support you in this and the ministry in moving this forward, moving this platform forward, because this is in benefit not only of the kids, but also for Curacao. So how can parents support the Ministry of Education in this?
Simple. I love my children more than I love myself. So I think if each parent has this in mind, you have the obligation to be with your children, to help them develop their skills so they can have a future tomorrow. So I don't think it is a task that the ministry has to do. It is a responsibility of each father and each mother.
It's a responsibility of the parents. I agree with that. So I'm going to ask one more question, then I'm going to give you the chance to round up. My question would be, what else can Magrid do? This is one part of it, this maths, but what else can we expect? What else is there in innovation for Magrid so we can benefit in supporting you? Because then from Curacao to Luxembourg, we can also share knowledge, share innovation, and collaborate with each other. What else can we expect from Magrid?
Thank you. So what we were trying during this week to do, to also realize if we can conduct scientific studies here. So similar to what we did in Luxembourg, Germany, France, Portugal, during the pilot phase and even after that, to conduct real research so that we are not only making decisions based on the data we see in the application, but we can also conduct quantitative and qualitative research to see both the impact of the program on children's performance improvement, but also seeing that from teacher's perspective and parent perspective, what was the result of Magrid. So the stuff like their interest, the anxiety, the self-confidence, those are the things that we can see through qualitative research. And also what we were trying here to achieve between the two countries was that sharing knowledge and the data within this group to make sure that we are supporting two countries and the educational systems equally.
Thank you very much. I'm going to pass the word. I'm going to start with the minister, then to Dr. Tahereh, and last to Prince. Final words for this interview and a message to Curacao, Luxembourg, and the world.
No, we are excited to having this software being implemented in our schools. We are confident that it will help our children with math, and we look forward to keep working with Magrid, but also with Luxembourg. We have some things similar, like we teach in different languages, and in Luxembourg also. So based on those similarities, we will continue to work with Luxembourg to see what more we can adopt and to make our educational system better.
Thank you, Minister of Education, Science, Culture and Sport. Dr. Tahereh.
Thank you so much. So to make a change and to make differences, it takes time. So we from Magrid side, we are committed to do whatever we have in our power and whatever we can to make this a success. So the pilot phase is the beginning for us to understand the way Magrid is functioning, testing that from, as I mentioned, both quantitative and qualitative perspective. And then after that to evaluate like if it's a right fit or what could still be improved in Magrid, in the way we are providing the solution, in our teacher training, to make sure that we even increase the impact. So no matter what we are achieving for us, like at least from Magrid side, this is a long vision that we have here to make sure that together, staying committed to make sure to deliver the promises that we are giving and not only just having empty promise.
From Magrid Learning Solutions from Luxembourg, Dr. Tahereh Pazouki, and last, Her Highness Prince of Luxembourg.
Thank you very much. Well, I would just like to give a message of hope and stimulation and motivation, and that is for the children really to stay curious and to test how far they can go with their knowledge. Really to test themselves, never to be lazy or to think that they're stupid, but test. You will prove to yourself how smart you are. Don't oversimplify. Go for complicated things and try to understand complex things, because often with those children, they are better at finding out complex solutions than simple solutions. And for the parents, for the teachers, first of all, help them the curiosity, help them understand the subject more than isolated details about a subject. Go in depth into a subject in order for them to be curious and want to learn deeper also on themselves about the subject. And for parents, I would like to tell them, you have struggled even more than the children often. You have a pressure that is gigantic. And so Magrid is a solution that can a bit appease your child, but also you, and try to be an appeasing factor within the family and your children. It is more helpful to bring peace than to bring help. Sometimes we try to help so much that we create tensions, and those children have so much tension already that what they need is more love and understanding.
Thank you very, very much. From Luxembourg, Prince de Luxembourg, Prince Louis de Luxembourg. I want to thank each and every one of you for your attention. Again, thank you, Dr. Tahereh Pazouki from Magrid Learning Solution Luxembourg, the Minister of Education, Science, Culture and Sports from Curaçao, Minister Sithree van Heydoorn, and Prince Louis de Luxembourg, Ambassador to the Magrid Project program here. Thank you for being here. My name is Elton Villarreal. It was a pleasure. And remember, the 5 M's. It's all about mucha, maestro, mayor, material y manejo. It's all about the children, the teachers, the parents, the material, and management. If we all do what we need to do and take responsibility for it, our futures will be brighter. Thank you very much and hope you enjoyed it.